Hi everyone, and welcome back to Storytelling, Philosophy, and Reception. Today we have the fabulous Annelise Baer, an archaeologist and producer from LA, who also runs the popular TikTok and Instagram account, Annelise the Archaeologist. Welcome, Annelise!
Hi. Hi. Oh, this is so fun. I'm so excited. Yay.
Oh my gosh, a fellow Californian. Is
Yes.
I mean, can I say
The
that?
the
Because I keep thinking that you're all over the world. I didn't even realize that you were in Los Angeles, which means that we're going to have to do another boba run. You haven't done a
yeah,
boba run.
exactly. Like we need a boba, Getty Villa, all of the things.
We need to do
Um,
this.
Even though the Getty Villa for me is like literally on the other end of the planet, like any further west and you're in the ocean. Like you've just run out of California. But like it's always worth the trek and the adventure to get over there because it's
For
such a cool
reals.
place.
For reals. So we're going to have to figure this out, whether it's plugging in my local museum, Bowers Museum here, you
Oh,
know.
Art Museum. Oh, so good.
Okay, so we'll figure this out after
Yeah.
doing this.
I feel like we have to talk about the Odyssey and Odyssey related things because
Let's do
that's
it.
that's the thing that is happening right now. It's the Odyssey and Pompeii.
I
Those are
think
the thing that like I'm most interested in talking about
sure.
are
Tell
sort
me.
of like the real elements in all of this because like
Yeah.
obviously anytime somebody adapts the Odyssey, the Iliad, any of those ancient epics, we sort of like get one more addition into the catalog of adaptations and interpretations of these stories. Um, but what's always interesting to see is like how they pick and choose the actual like historical elements, like what gets included, what gets left out. And I think this is maybe one of the first times, like I could obviously be forgetting, some examples of the Odyssey or the Iliad in, cinema from like the 50s or 60s. But we're seeing a little bit more when it comes to like the physical things. So um I know that there is like the presence of a couple ancient instruments, and that's what we hear in the soundtrack. And so even even if it's sort of presented in an interesting way or done in a very sort of like modern take on it, the fact that we're hearing an aulos is kind of cool. Like there's so much cool archaeology everywhere, and I know that some of the biggest stuff that was like super, newsworthy, I think it was last year, was the discovery of the palace over in Pylos, or like right next door. But it was basically like I think it was revisiting and then continuing an excavation in that area, but with new sort of like fresh eyes and new research. It turns out, wait a minute, this is the missing place that we've been looking for the entire time. Because like everybody knows about Mycenae and how like that was, a central seat of power during that time, and that there were other places, but how do you lose a palace? Where did it go? Um, Turns out it's just right over there. And it's been there the whole time. And it's like, we got it. We found it.
For
Yay. And
reals.
so like blowing open the existing knowledge of how the Peloponnesus and how, Greece and the larger sort of like Greek speaking world at the time operated, and how all of these places were operating independently and then also like with each other back then, which obviously is kind of like the historical foundation for all of these types of things. So having that real foundation for ancient epics that took place in a mythical past informed by a real past, endlessly interesting.
This becomes a Getty advert because
Yay.
I
Oh,
have
The Getty bookstore is
signed
deadly.
books.
Yes, I saw that. That exhibit was so good.
The
I had
Kingdom of
so much
Pylos,
fun.
since you're
That
mentioning it.
was,
And I
yeah.
I got I went up there and I chatted with the wonderful archaeologists and I got both the Greek and the English version. So
Yes,
as
I
you were
love
mentioning, like
that.
the real Pylos.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's just really quite incredible that we have. sources that we can draw
Hmm.
from, and it's a choice for filmmakers,
Hmm.
to include things we've learned or not.
Hmm.
As you've mentioned, for instance, the Aulos. My Aulos teacher, Callum Armstrong, is the one that played
I
the Aulos,
know. I saw
and
that. I saw that in a clip yesterday. And I was like, "Hey, I know that guy."
yeah, right. So like during the, I know you haven't seen the movie yet, but during the
Hmm.
Penelope and Odysseus um, scene where
Hmm. Yeah, we don't even need to say spoiler alert because the story's been around for like 3,000
yeah,
years.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
During the Penelope and Odysseus chit chat,
Hmm.
the sound of the Aulos comes. But having said that, the sound of it is there.
Hmm.
At no point in the movie were there any musical instruments. We have the rapper who's banging on a stick
Right, as
rhythmically.
like a bard, but yeah, like we're missing the entire
The
rest of the
lyre,
situation that would have been there, like the musicians that would have accompanied the bard. Like
or
there would have been
himself
live
accompanying
music. Yeah,
himself. I mean, that's
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah, yeah.
in the Odyssey itself. Demodocus is he I mean, he's so well treated. They lay out a wonderful little meal for him, and they serve him on a silver platter, literally. And and I mean, he's treated very well. They take down his instrument that's hanging on the wall, and he starts playing. And I was really hoping that they would somehow get,
Like give
you
us
know
give us a proper moment with this.
at
Yeah,
least
like
hold it, at least hold
yeah,
it
yeah. Have it nearby, be
nearby,
like
hold it.
right next to him, maybe just like sitting there. But
There would,
like
yeah.
that, yeah, that's one of those creative choices that I'm endlessly curious about because
He
like,
stood up on the table and started thumping with a stick. And
hmm,
I'm like, that's cool. Is the lyre showing up anytime? Or,
yeah,
no, it didn't
where's the rest of the
happen.
music?
There was no music. And that's
Yeah.
one of the things, that one of the elements that I'm thinking, you go to any bar and there's music.
Hmm. Yeah,
Music.
exactly.
Not just rapping without musical instrument. Music.
Yeah, or just like
And
spoken word.
right. So I was very baffled by that choice. There were choices in the movie. Some
Yeah.
were excellent, as in like the
Hmm.
cinematography was breathtaking.
Right. The practical effect, I am so thrilled to see that as
Yes.
like a major component of this film. Like that, the movie making aspect of it all makes me so happy, and I'm so like genuinely excited to see it
Mm-hmm.
on a big
Yeah.
screen. And but yeah, as for like the story and the
Yeah.
odyssey of it
Right.
all, I'm like,
When people
mm,
ask, did I like the movie? I liked the movie. The movie
yeah.
was Nolan's Odyssey, and I
Hmm.
love movies in general. It
Yeah,
is its own
exactly.
genre, and it's fun,
Yeah.
but it's like but it's not at all Homer's
Yeah,
Odyssey.
that I
Like,
mean that
no,
that's such a good way of putting it. It's Nolan's
it's Nolan's
Odyssey, not
Odyssey. It's
the
a good movie.
Odyssey.
I
Yeah, and
I'd
all
recommend people to watch
adaptations
it. Yeah.
are valid.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them are good.
Yeah. Oh, and
Yeah.
aspect depends on what aspect you want. I went in
Hmm.
there to enjoy it. I went in there with two very good friends, neither of them classicists, and to enjoy it and
Hmm.
see it from their eyes, and talk about it, and
Yeah.
any time that a classic shows up on film is always a good
Hmm.
thing, good for
Yeah.
discussion. No, but having said that, there were things that bothered me, like that. Like, I'm just like,
Hmm.
that the music thing was just like, no, that was strange. That was strange, because
Hmm.
even for in a modern pub world situation, I mean,
Yeah.
given it's not even supposed to be a pub, it's supposed to be a big banquet table, and
Yeah.
I've been to friends' homes where they have, huge
Yeah.
um
It's like
things,
a dinner party,
a
a
dinner
dinner event.
party,
There's
big dinner
music in the
parties.
background.
There's music playing,
Yeah.
and so that bugged. And then the Helen of Sparta thing absolutely bugged, because Helen of Sparta, this was the moment to elevate a queen and show how
Hmm.
she was so respected, and
Yes.
she
She's a
was
strong
desired.
person.
she was desired, respected by her
Mm-hmm.
husband, and
Mm-hmm.
in Odyssey, she shows up in two different books. The first one, arguably, people were saying, "Oh my gosh, she drugged them." She didn't drug them.
Like
She was nurturing them because she felt that they needed medicine, to
right.
relax. And
Just assisting.
and then in book 15, she very kindly gives to Telemachus presents for his future bride. And
Mm-hmm.
and then she does a remarkable thing. Prophesies. She
Mm-hmm.
prophesies Odysseus's return. He's asking
Mm-hmm.
everybody in the whole wide world, is he alive? Is he returning?
Right. Is he
And
coming
then
back? Like, where is he?
she sees birds, and then uh, people turn to Menelaus going, "What do you think?" And before he could answer, she steps in and
She got
says her prophecy, which is, and here's my plug, which is in my album. I sing her words. I sing her prophecy,
Yay.
her six
Oh, I
line
love that.
prophecy, and it's remarkable. I mean, how many prophecies are there in the Odyssey? And
Right.
she answers the question when Telemachus is like,
Yeah,
"Where's where's my daddy?"
yeah, right. And specifically a prophecy coming from someone who isn't sort of like already in a position to be doing that. Like, she doesn't, work slash live at a temple of Apollo
Right?
or anywhere else you would normally expect to have a prophecy occur. Like this is just coming from a person
Yeah,
who is a very special person, but it's like
a
she's
half
she's not
goddess.
the one you,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's like she has divine parentage, and still you would expect to have a prophecy come from someone in like a
Tiresias.
religious employment. My boy, I love Tiresias so
Oh,
much, and
okay.
that's
We
the
will
one
talk
thing I'm
about
like,
Tiresias then. Yes, we shall
I
talk about.
know that's
Yes.
that's the one little nugget where it's like I I'm trying to temper my expectations for it because like I know he's there. So I am excited to see Tiresias on a screen for like the first time ever, I think, unless there's been a Tiresias moment in something else I haven't seen. But obviously, like as it is being done in this way by Christopher Nolan in this context with this color palette, like all of that, it's like I know I got to temper my expectations, but I'm just like, oh, Tiresias, yes. I love
In
him so much.
in the Odyssey miniseries in with Armand Assante, is it in the
Oh,
1990s?
yeah, in the 90s, the one from the
1990s.
90s. Yeah.
Okay, there's a Tiresias there. It is. I can't remember his name. Sir Christ. I think pretty sure he's a Sir Christopher. Um, he's a great.
Christopher Lee.
Yes,
I'm gonna
yes,
have to go. Was it Christopher Lee? Oh my
yes.
God. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that because like I have not seen that since I was a literal child watching that on
Okay,
TV.
that's it.
So I
It
need to go back and see that because
because I was
obviously
like,
that's
it's
like
Saruman. It's Saruman, and was he? Did he play Dracula at one point? It's
yes,
him.
yeah, he played
It's him
Dracula like he did. Oh my God. I okay, I'm gonna go watch that
with the voice.
immediately.
He's got that voice.
Yes. Yes, which is so funny because like when when I think about Tiresias, like I don't think about him having like the presence and gravitas of Sir Christopher Lee. Because he really is just like and especially towards the end when he's like in full old man mode, literally just sort of like he appears in your story like any, a play, tragedy, comedy, whatever, like he just appears, he dispenses sass and then leaves. And then you just have to deal with it because he has delivered his wisdom in sass form and then he's done. Like his job is done. He's going back to where he came from. He's going home, early bird special, whatever. Um, I love Tiresias so much. If I had stuck with classics, like I probably would have written something about Tiresias because
At
he's the
some
best.
point, I am so fascinated by prophets, whether it's the
Hmm.
Delphic Oracle
Right.
or
The whole oracular
anytime,
tradition,
yeah,
like,
anytime the sirens,
yeah,
the siren,
anytime anyone's doing that, like, which is funny because a dig that I was working on in Albania a couple of years ago was in like very, very, or it was kind of in like southern Albania, kind of in the middle, like middle south, which meant historically it was very close to the border with Greece. So like, southern Albania and northern Greece culturally and historically are kind of like blended together. And so what was really cool was that there was a historic connection between the site that I was working at and Dodona down in Greece, which was one of the major oracle centers. So in the ancient world, if you were looking for an oracle, you would go to either Delphi, Siwa, or Dodona. And the like, I think Herodotus was the one who wrote it down. Um, but the ancient wisdom was that everyone was kind of in agreement that the tradition, the practice of being an oracle came from Siwa. So the first oracles originated in Egypt from Siwa and then came to Greece. And then one went to Delphi, one went to Dodona. And those were like the three main places you could go if you needed big answers through an oracle. And I thought that was just the coolest thing in the world.
That is the coolest thing.
And
So say that again. They came from Siwa.
yeah, so
What region is
according
that?
It's an oasis out in the Western Desert in Egypt.
Uh-huh.
And Siwa Oasis is also where Alexander went
Sure, yes.
when he had his little like Egypt tour for a hot minute. And he went to the Oracle of Zeus, Zeus Ammon, was there. But before that, um, again, according to, I'm pretty sure it was Herodotus, again, who wrote this down. So he heard it from someone who heard it from someone. Um, the first oracles originally came from Egypt because it's a mystical land of mystical wonders. And when they left Siwa, or their one oracle left there and went to Delphi, and another one went to Dodona. And so Delphi was where you could have your oracle be a go-between between you and Apollo. And then Dodona was where it was a go-between between Zeus and you. Um, and so that's that. And they had their own mint there, and they minted their own coins, and it was like it was a major destination back in the day. And there is still an archaeological site that you can go see there today. I haven't been there yet, but it's endlessly cool.
See, back to Helen on that because she went
Yeah.
to Egypt. According to the Odyssey,
Hmm.
there's this big thing about how she and Menelaus, on the way back from the Trojan War,
Went
went
all the way
to
south.
Egypt,
Yeah,
went to Egypt and hung out there for
why not? It's a great place.
a few years, enough that
Yeah.
she learned medicine and she got a bunch of presents. And
Yeah.
apparently, if we can connect that to the prophecy thing, like somehow she got powers of prophecy from there.
Yeah, or like she took a like an Oracle summer course or something like that.
That's what I'm
Because
saying.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like back in the ancient day, like everyone just sort of like knew that Egypt was where medicine originated from, like in the ancient Mediterranean, the classical Mediterranean. Everybody regarded Egypt as like the place where the concept of medicine kind of came from. And so if you wanted to be a doctor and if you wanted to properly learn medicine or the medical arts, you would go to Egypt, and that's where you would train and that's where you would learn. And then because Egypt was always seen as ancient and mystical even back then, that's where the oracles came from.
Can you believe I've never been to Egypt? I've been invited to play in Egypt in the museum. They're not the Grand Museum, the smaller
Habibi,
one.
come to Egypt.
I
Come
know,
on one
and
of
I
my
need to
trips.
hang out with you anyway
Yeah.
and be toured by you
Hmm.
and play musical instruments for
Oh my
your,
God, you would love it. And they have instruments in the museums. And so you can see those instruments, and we can compare and contrast and all that good stuff. And there's plenty of Greek to read there too.
not to mention it's only a 3 hour trip between Cairo and Athens, so
Yeah, it's super convenient. It's right there. It's right there.
okay. All these
Yeah.
all these plans has to happen next year
I
when it's
know.
not so crazy in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
We can only hope.
2027, 2028, it's gonna
Yeah,
happen.
we're hoping. I have a question for you,
Yes.
which is what is your favorite part in the Odyssey?
That is so difficult. But as a generality, anytime
Hmm.
the women speak is my favorite part, which is why when I conceived of my album for the Odyssey, because I was thinking of doing a separate Odyssey album, but then people were like, "Why don't you put Odyssey and Iliad together since you've been working on the Iliad for like 9 years?" I'm like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, okay." I mean,
yeah,
separate, which is a separate thing from like the Iliad a day thing. That's an entirely different thing.
yeah.
But like just the ones I recorded, not live,
Hmm.
except the one I put a live one in there. Um, my original conception is was to say the words only, not even the narration, but the words every time they showed up. So I sing only
Hmm.
the words of Penelope, Circe or Kirke,
Hmm.
Calypso, Helen, Athena, and the sirens. So I sing
Oh, that's so
only
cool.
their words, and it was a choice, and
Hmm.
so the only Odyssey song I don't sing that were only the words of a woman were the Tell Me Muse in just the beginning,
Mm.
because I thought, okay, I need
The
to
muses
sing,
at the beginning, yeah.
yeah, Tell Me Muse, but arguably
Yeah. But
after
even then,
singing
it's
Tell
like
Me
the muses
Muse,
aren't speaking, it's someone asking the muses.
yeah, it's like Tell Me Muse, but then like it's still a reference, and I thought, okay, but
Yeah,
also I had to put in the first 10 lines in there no matter what. But that's
yeah.
how I conceived the Odyssey. I thought I'm going to, for volume 2, because this is volume 1, I want
Hmm.
to sing Nausicaa, and her mother. Does her mother
Hmm.
speak? Well, definitely Nausicaa speaks. And
Yeah.
Euryclea, Anticlea,
Uh-huh. Yeah, like the sort of like the secondary and tertiary women who show up, maybe in like one specific place, like the ones who, yeah, it's the secondary cast of women.
and anytime, any other times that shows up, like when Penelope speaks again and Helen speaks again,
Hmm.
what's such. It's important to me because it's um it's a reflection, I think, of what women's roles were. It's a
Hmm.
it's an oral tradition of what women were saying.
Yeah.
So if we're going to go with oral tradition is their tradition, and to them it's history, well then to them
Hmm.
it's history that
Yeah.
queens were powerful and
Hmm.
important, and their words mattered, and their
Yeah.
actions carried consequences,
Yeah.
and they elevated them. Like, I thought it was always a choice in, I don't know at what point in time I'd have to look at that history. But the sirens, I just opened up exactly, what they said, but they say, come here. Come here. Basically, they're saying, stay your ship, that you may listen to us. So there's more than one always,
Hmm.
until one hears the sweet voice from our lips. But indeed he rejoices and goes his way much wiser. So there's that word. For we know all the toils endured through the will of the gods, and we know all things which come to pass on the fruitful earth. That's what they
Hmm.
say. That's their song. That's the song of the
Yeah.
sirens. It's not some sexy, come here, baby, you know.
Yeah, just like, ooh, hey, sailor.
No, it's like,
Like that, it's not that at all.
it's
It's
not,
not that at
it's come here,
all.
sailor. You want to know stuff? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we'll tell you. We'll tell you. Come on, park your boat. We'll tell you everything you want to know.
Sexy librarian, if anything, knowledge.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
not yeah. And
That said, I hold firm in the opinion that "O Brother, Where Art Thou" is one of the best modern adaptations of the
well,
Odyssey,
that's just fun.
and it's super fun. Like they took it and had so much fun with it, and then of course like the sirens in that
They went all
are
out with
excellent.
that one. I mean, if
Yeah,
you have
like
a
it was so
vision,
good.
go with it. Uh,
Yeah.
Spoiler for Nolan's Odyssey, they have anthropomorphic forms, and
Hey.
they you see them from far away, and you don't hear them singing at all.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard I've heard about that. I've seen some like kind of, behind the scenes things about like the sound design of that scene.
So yeah, that's at some point someone made a choice to make them
Hmm.
into seductive thing. And what Circe says, so here's, what Circe says, which I
Yeah.
didn't sing. What the part that I sang in my album was Circe just saying, why are you not drinking? Do you think I'm going to drink it?
Yeah.
But the
Right.
interesting thing, which will be for volume two, is when she says, this is what the sirens will do. And um, the sirens are sitting on a hill, and all around them are the bones of men who died listening to them singing
Hmm.
because they forgot to eat and drink and go home. So it's never, they don't eat men. So
No, they're not doing anything.
they're not eating
They're just
men.
singing. They're just
The men,
singing.
they don't make the men crash their ships. The men
Yeah.
are just like hearing their songs and crush their
Right.
ships so eagerly to climb up to see them. And once
Right.
they're,
And to
yeah,
listen, and then they kind of go into that like trance state where
trance,
they forget
yeah,
time and food and hydration, and they die.
yes. So that's amazing. So
Endlessly, endlessly interesting.
and and Circe herself, when we know she's singing, but she doesn't sing with
Hmm.
an instrument. We never, do you know that never in any literature is a muse playing a lyre or an instrument? Yet Sappho was elevated as a musician, as a poet,
Hmm.
and won competitions and such, as if there's a tradition of women
Yeah.
playing lyres
Yeah.
and let's just hope other instruments. I'm hoping for other instruments
Right.
too. But as if there's a tradition, and it's perfectly fine for
Yeah.
women to be
Yeah.
playing instruments, and therefore to display them as such.
Yeah. I
Even
wonder
though
if it's
it's,
one of those,
yeah,
God, I wonder if it's one of those things where like nobody wrote it down just because it was like, well, duh, obviously, like people play
right.
instruments, people of any
La
gender.
lack of lack of document doesn't mean it didn't happen. It could mean, as you said, it's
Right.
just so obvious. Isn't it obvious?
Like, like this is just one of the most common things in life that like, men and women play musical instruments. It's
Yeah.
like, why would we need to waste valuable
If
anything
yeah,
to
if you're
write
singing, of
write
course
down
you
such
have
a
an
basic
instrument.
fact?
Why,
Yeah, like,
yeah.
duh. Who sings without an instrument? That's just crazy.
Yes, so that's it. It could just be like that. So
Yeah.
obvious. And
Mm.
so, my dissertation is actually all about like comparing the art with the documents and saying,
Hmm.
so what is the truth? And archaeological records, which are like
Okay.
rare because
Hmm.
you only get relics where it's really dry or really wet. Therefore,
Yes.
China or Egypt, I kid you not, China or
Yeah,
Egypt.
it has to be a very specific environmental situation to allow for the preservation of organic material like wood, bone, ivory, which is also bone, like all of the components that would have made up musical instruments.
Only tortoise shell from Posidonia, um, found in a tomb, with
Hmm.
holes,
Yeah,
implies lyres with tortoise shells
yeah.
because that survives. Tortoise shell survives. So I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, let's look for more tortoise shells other than Egypt and China.
Yeah.
I'm scouring for archaeological records of stringed instruments. And
Hmm.
it's been a fascinating ride, and I have like what 3 more years to go to write my dissertation.
Yeah. They
But
have plenty of time.
remember, anytime if you hear about, uh,
Yeah, if
you
anyone
know,
anyone finds a lyre
relics
anywhere, yeah,
of
or a
stringed
musical instrument,
instruments,
yeah,
aside from Egypt and China, because I got those,
yeah,
but like
yeah,
in
yeah, yeah,
between, okay, Posidonia, okie dokie, where else,
yeah.
actual relics,
God,
yeah,
yeah, actual artifacts. Yeah,
actual
that's
artifacts. Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's tricky. Again, it's like we see them in art all the time, but yeah, like the actual reality of any of those things lasting, multiple thousands of years in some cases is like
Yeah.
it's a very low chance just because like these were made out of reeds, these were made out of thin organic material, which is very breakable and very biodegradable at the end of the day.
I haven't read my friend Emily Hauser's Mythica yet. Uh,
Ooh.
Also called, I think, Penelope's Bones. Haven't read
Hmm.
yet. And I need to. I only have a few more weeks of summer, to see if she's talking about the real women behind
Mm.
the myths. Um, I want to know more about that and see if the archaeological record I'm always fascinated with. Um, so, anything from the Odyssey, Iliad, and archaeology that come to mind for you?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Tell
I
me.
mean, so many of the places mentioned in both of those epics are real places. So like Mycenae, that's a real place. Sparta, that's a real place. Pylos is a real place, and I am so happy that actual Pylos is sandy. Because like that, I mean, it just brings me sort of like classics joy. It's like, hee, Pylos is actually sandy. Yay. Um, like all of the places that all of the mythical characters are from are real places. And then as far as like a physical location for the Trojan War, so like the city of Troy, it's like we know archaeologically that there was a city that everybody called either, Troia or, Ilium or Wilusia. Depending on who's doing the speaking, if they speak Greek, if they speak Hittite or whatever. Um, there was a city that really existed in that sort of like upper left corner of Turkey.
Troy 7 or
And
something, right? Troy
yeah, and
number
so
something.
in in the site of I think that the site's official name is like Hisarlik. I think that's it. I am
Yeah, it's
pretty sure I'm
Hisarlik.
pronouncing that wrong. Hisarlik.
I don't know how to
It
pronounce it. I'm
has
so sorry. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I went to Turkey, but it's like I didn't go over there, so like I've never heard anyone actually say it. Um, but that site is like, it's a mound and it has multiple layers of habitation and dwellings. And the seventh, layer number 7, which, everybody started calling Troy 7 because it was a layer of habitation that showed evidence of destruction. And it dates roughly to the Bronze Age. So it's like, this must be the site of the Trojan War. And it's like, I mean, what? I mean, a a destruction clearly happened. Whether or not it is the Trojan War, you know, TBD. But everyone's been calling it Troy since, the 19th century. So the name stuck. And again, it's like the city of Troy is a real place that really existed. We have documentation from multiple ancient sources, contemporary sources at that time talking about it, people doing business, everybody was doing business and trading back and forth. And then archaeologically, there are layers of habitation that match up to what we know was going on during the Bronze Age, during the Mycenaean period. And that Bronze Age layer, that specific chunk of the Bronze Age, something happened. Something happened. The city kind of burned to the ground. Um, and that's what happened. And then people came back, habitation continued into the Roman period, and just centuries of habitation on top of that. And again, like earthquakes happened, fires happened, all of those things happened, and all of that is visible in the archaeological record there, which is super cool. And it's visualized very, very, very well, both at the site now. Like if you go there as a tourist, they also have 2 Trojan horses, which is kind of silly and cute and fun. They loved the movie Troy so much, and so the Trojan horse from that movie, which is still goofy, but it looks like a ship that could have been, or a horse that could have been built out of ships by a bunch of guys, as opposed to the one in this current Odyssey movie, which kind of looks like it's made out of chocolate. Not sure what's
That
going on there,
again,
but
that was a
yeah.
choice.
Choices were made. Choices were made.
Choices were made.
Yeah.
I prefer the Troy one because, as you said, for that reason, it looks like something from ship parts made by men.
hmm Yeah, like a bunch of dudes um with a lot of time on their hands could have theoretically constructed something kind of like that out of existing material, which in their case was boats. Um,
And
I
it
don't
was
think
up on
anyone
a
had a
platform where they were safe, as opposed to the movie.
like where they're pulling it out of the sand. I don't understand what's happening there.
Yes, it was
Like I get the
very
Poseidon of it all, like it's
odd.
coming from the sea, but also like
Men
What?
died. Men were drowning in the wooden horse because it was half
Yeah.
buried in the sand. And I'm like, oh, no man who
No.
no man would have put up with that. They'd be like, no. That's why I'm like,
No.
no, elevated up where they're nice and safe and they could drink a little bit and,
Yeah, and like hang out inside a horse and be
hang out
okay until
inside
they
a
had to go
horse,
inside.
tell stories until the Trojans came around. But like,
Yeah. So many strange.
intentionally sacrificing themselves to half drown. Are you
Yeah,
kidding? Men? Men who,
that's
no, I'm
just a waste of
sorry.
good soldiers. That's a waste of good soldiers. Like
Waste of
tactically, that makes no
soldiers.
sense. Makes
Waste.
no
It's
sense
a waste.
tactically.
So again, the choices.
Yeah,
So the things that I'm
choices.
just like, I'm not even talking about the movie where why is it not like the Odyssey? I'm just talking about the stuff that bugged me for
Right,
specific
yeah, it's like
reasons.
this just makes no sense.
Mm-hmm. What
Yeah.
is your like specialty? Like I have archaeologist friends whose specialty is um food scraps. Like
Right, yeah.
Flint was food scraps for a very long time. I need to talk to
Yeah,
him
yeah,
I
yeah.
think next week Wednesday and say, is it still about the trash? Is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
still your
yeah.
interest?
It's always about the trash. I mean, trash is a wonderful source of information, and I think I was talking to my dad yesterday about ancient coins, and which is one of my big areas of interest and love. I love coins, and one of there's two wonderful, amazing places at an archaeological site to potentially find coins. One is in the toilet, and the other is the drain. So if you have an ancient site that has toilets, check the toilets. Beware of the yellow dirt, but or green dirt. It's green dirt. Beware of yellow snow, and also beware of green dirt.
Dare I
But
ask green
toilets,
dirt? What is green dirt?
the urine, when urine
Oh,
soaks into the dirt, it turns green eventually.
oh, I didn't know
Um,
that. Well, today I
yeah,
learned. But why
yeah. So
toilets? Why are coins near toilets?
things fall out of people's pockets and they fall into the toilet.
Oh,
And you're not getting that
oh.
back. You're not going to reach in there to get that. Like, nope. And then drains, kind of for the same reason. Like things fall and they, fall into the drain, and that's that.
And of course in the sea, right?
Also the sea sometimes. But I think finding loose coins randomly in the sea, not so much.
I was just thinking in
Unless the
terms of like
coin,
chests or whatever, right?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. If it was part of like a shipment on a ship that like sank, then it's like, well, yeah, then you're gonna have like a beautiful, like everything is in one box at the bottom of the Mediterranean. So it's just all right there.
I should have been
But
wearing my ancient coin for you. And I always tell people like I
I
got
got
this.
mine.
Yeah, I have
It's a
I have
replica.
I have two actual ones. And when people go, but that's not cool, I'm like, oh, well, I can't return it. They were presents for me back when I was an undergrad. Um,
Yeah.
and before I even it was even before I became a classics undergrad, we were
Hmm.
walking around, and my mom and my dad gave me these because they're just cool. Little did I know that I was going to be
Yeah.
studying ancient civilizations like after.
Right.
So
Yeah. And like, yeah.
so I had like okay, and then I immediately had it made into gold was wrapped around it and made into
Hmm.
necklaces, and then I wear it. Like, how would I feel about it now? So many feelings about that now, about like,
Yeah.
but like, to me it's always like, oh my gosh, this was something that was given to me. And then I ask
Hmm.
archaeologist friends, can you tell me about this coin, like, you know
Yeah, just like read the front and the back. But like the thing with coins and like ancient coins specifically and the having of them is very interesting because like the perceived value of an ancient coin varies. And at the end of the day, it's like, sometimes it's essentially the ancient equivalent of a penny. And so, while it may have had some monetary value back in the day, and perhaps it has a little more monetary value now because it's ancient, um, like it's this very interesting gray area of ownership. Um, and because yeah, sometimes a coin has been looted from somewhere. But also sometimes it hasn't. Sometimes it's literally from like right down the street. Um, because coins and money in general, like, spread so far around the ancient world and ended up in so many different places for so many reasons. And sometimes things literally just fell out of people's pockets. Like it wasn't put in a place necessarily for ritual purposes or anything like that, but like sometimes people had holes in their pockets and a coin fell out. So like so many different layers and interesting things when it comes to coins. But that said, I love coins so much. This one is a replica, and I got it because it was like, this is the best replica I've ever seen. I'm gonna get that. And I mean, finding when you find coins archaeologically, like during a dig, while you're digging, it is literally the best way to just immediately date whatever layer you're in because it's
Sure.
got the date on it. It's right
Right.
there. And you're just like, great, we're good. We are firmly in whatever year, whatever period. Right here, we've got a coin. Fabulous.
And the iconography on it, right? Like the one that
Yeah.
I have two actually. One is Roman,
Okay. Oh, yay. Flip it around. Who's on the front?
Faustina Jr.
Faustina. Oh,
Faustina
yes, with her signature
Jr.
bun.
So this is the wife of the dude from Gladiator, Marcus Aurelius.
Uh, oh, nice. Wait, Faustina Jr. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Too many
Yeah.
Romans.
So the mother of Commodus, and it's her.
Yeah.
And this one, I think it's a
Ooh.
goddess from. This one is from Cyprus,
Oh,
circa
okay.
fourth
It's
century
got a
BC,
horsey on the back. Oh
with
my
a
God, it's
horsey
got a horsey.
and palm trees.
Tree. Oh, that's so
So
cool. And then the front is, I think that's like a good all-purpose nymph, if I remember correctly.
or like the
So
goddess
not like
Tanat or something when I was trying to
maybe,
figure
yeah.
it out. Cyprus though.
Goddesses, yeah, Cyprus, which is super cool. Goddesses will usually have like a special hat or something, um, to
Oh, I
let
see
you
what you're
know it's
saying.
like a
Yeah, she's
goddess
wearing like a
versus a nymph.
fillet kind of.
Yeah, or I think she's just got like a diadem, or it's like
Yeah.
kind of a diadem, but kind of not.
Like
But
kind
I
of a
think that's,
diadem, a fillet, a headband, a something. So
do I have my coin book here?
I need a coin book. Of all things, I
Oh,
don't have a coin book. I
yeah.
have like so many other
Wait,
different things.
wait a dang minute. To the books. I love being able to say, let me consult the books. And is this okay? Is this it? Is this it? Yes. Okay. So many in archaeology of my own home, I found my literal binder from my numismatics class in undergrad, which was the only undergrad numismatics class available in the entire country. So technically, I am a certified numismatist because I've taken a whole dang class on these things. Um, but are we Athens and Athens only? What is this? Um, this is bronze coinage, bronze coinage. There's too many coins and I love them all. But the important thing to know is I'm pretty sure that's a nymph head on the front and then horsey and palm tree on the back.
Yeah, it's just so it's cool
It's
to
so
have
cool.
this. And like
Yeah,
it was given to me and like okay, that's
right.
it. I have it. And
Yeah. And coin collecting has been a thing that people have done for literally thousands of years. We have ancient examples of people taking older coins and fashioning them into jewelry. Like, it's a time-honored tradition at this point.
did they really? They
Yeah,
did
yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
absolutely. People love doing that. And there's some really phenomenal examples of like high status jewelry made out of coins or like, centered around coins, gold coins from the like Byzantine era. So it would be, gold, really intense, gorgeous gold jewelry with inlaid gold coins from previous reigns and stuff like that. But yeah, this is something that people have been doing for a very, very long time.
And speaking about you're saying, some are worth just pennies. I have a penny
Mhm.
collection. I think I have a half
Yeah,
penny. I even have a half
yeah.
penny. because that was a thing when I was young, and so people knew that. So like somebody's grandpa who didn't have it, who like, here, do you want this? Sure, from friends, parents, friends,
Yeah.
and they would just give it to
Yeah.
me. And so like now that the penny is ending, I'm like, okay, I start collecting 2020 to 2026 just to have it, just to have like
Yeah. Yeah. And
that
again, like
archaeological record.
that is a time-honored tradition. Like that is something that humans like to do and humans have been doing for a very long time.
Isn't that interesting? Like just to be able to hold, it's to me like when I first got this and the other one, I was like, I'm holding coins, and because they're bronze, they were the ones that were worn out because they were
Hmm.
used. So
Yeah.
these are the ones that were passed around, used, and who knows who had them? Who in
Yeah.
chance passed
Circulated through the
circulated.
markets and stuff. And
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just always fascinating. Whereas olive oil is an interesting thing because even today in Greece, anywhere you go, when they sell a stone house, um, and it's owned by families from whenever, they come with olive trees in the back. Like, here's
Yeah. And there's like a little olive press in the back too. And you
with
would
an olive
press your
press.
own
Like,
olives.
you
Yeah.
make your own. Like,
Hmm.
wow. It seems like there's always going to be stone homes apparently that will be in the market because families fight over who owns them, and so
Yes.
legally it's hanging for so long, and that's
Hmm.
why there's so many of them crumbling apparently.
Right, because like the real estate of it all, the legal ownership of it all has been in limbo for so long.
So by the time someone finally, the last relative dies and they have to
Yeah.
sell it, it's still at a low price. And yes, now you have to like rebuild it completely.
Yeah. You got to put in like $1 million to fix the house and actually make it livable because it's, an abandoned farmhouse.
And I've always thought maybe I don't want to rebuild a house. Maybe I just want the backyard without any
Yeah.
trees.
Like I just want the olives in the back. It's fine.
I will just like this will be my little performance place. Come
Hmm.
to this little, half crumbling place. I will play the lyre for you guys and tell tales, and there will be a catering. And, I was thinking like
Yeah.
just because it would be so the ambiance would just be like the coolest thing
Oh
ever.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the right atmosphere and the right environment for all that.
So is Egypt coins? Is that the place and the thing that you're very much into?
It's Egypt and the rest of the classical Mediterranean, because like Egypt is kind of what got me into all this nonsense. Um, and then like with, my own interest in reading and then with school, it ended up expanding to the classical Mediterranean and ancient Near East, as it was called then. So it was basically like everybody in there. And then because my beloved Romans went all over the place, if a land happens to be somewhere that was once within the borders of the Roman Empire, it gets to come too, because there's so much cool stuff happening, especially when you get out into the sort of like outer reaches and borderlands of any of those empires or like spheres of influence. Cool things happen out there. And that's all invited too. And then I just really like coins. I think they're so fun and they're so cute. And yeah, it's a whole bunch of things all sort of like smushed together in related and neighboring topics.
Hellenistic age ended up being my place um, because there were traveling there were itinerant musicians. They're traveling musicians
Yeah.
during Hellenistic
Yeah.
age, going to all the festivals. So a lot of the studies I ended up doing was like on that. Uh,
Mhm.
Interestingly enough, like there's the bards in the during the Bronze Age that we from oral tradition hear about that were
Mhm.
because we it's written down once a couple times in the Odyssey and a couple other places in the Homeric hymns that that there are bards traveling around, but like actual data can be taken from the Hellenistic age. There's just so many
Mhm.
their names and competition places and what they won and all that. So that became my thing. And Hellenistic period itself is so fascinating because then you have Alexander the Great and his travels and the
Yeah.
trade of ideas and stuff that was happening. Oh my
Hmm.
gosh.
Yeah.
And I ended up also, getting into reading ancient Egyptian
Hmm.
hieroglyphs, not very well at all. And, I, but it's a fun thing. I have my books and I keep going
Yeah.
back to
It's
them.
such a fun language. And there is something really satisfying about being able to read something in the original language. And I mean, I've been needing to brush up on my Middle Egyptian, my hieroglyphs for a bit now, and it's like I really need to do that. Um, but and then I also need to brush up on my Latin, which is slightly terrifying because like it's very rusty. But at least I have like over a year kind of heads up before I go to Rome and Naples next year, and it's like I wanted to be able to do things properly Romanly. Um, so it's like I need to brush up on my Latin and be able to say something a little bit more than like, Delphina Occurrit, um, or, some bits and pieces here and there.
What's cool about Latin is how it's still, some things still, well, a lot of things actually, but like salve survives.
Yeah.
Salve, salve.
Yeah.
It's still
Yeah, yeah,
salve
yeah.
in
It's
Italian.
still there.
It's just cool.
It's so cool. And actually, I was watching Stanley Tucci's show that's on National Geographic Disney Plus. Or it's like, it's a really cute, very gentle food travel show. He just goes around Italy, he's talking to people in Italian, and there's a lot of pasta happening, and it's great. Um, but the I watched an episode where he was in Naples, and in one of the scene segments, they go to Ercolano. Herculaneum. And he's talking to two guys about tomatoes, and a specific, like, native variety of tomato. It's not actually native because tomatoes are a New World thing and they came over to Italy. Anyway, it's like a specialty variety of tomatoes that is only grown in Herculaneum. And he was talking to two gentlemen. And the second gentleman, who was like, fourth generation farmer, like the specialist for this type of tomato, when this man spoke, I thought I had actually lost my mind because I was like, this man is speaking Latin. He's not speaking Italian. Like, this man is speaking Latin. It sounds like he is speaking Latin when his mouth opens. And the guy next to him is like, that guy is speaking Italian. This guy's speaking Latin. And it's got me thinking, it's like, wait, is this actually just like the regional accent of right here? Because if so, that's incredible. And it was so bizarre hearing that because I immediately sat up and I was like, wait, why am I kind of understanding this? What's happening?
Now
Where
I'm gonna
am I?
have
Have
to
I?
find that episode.
Oh, please do. It's
Okay,
so
I
good. It's
will.
so good. And
Gosh, I
but
can't
but
wait.
and especially like because you are much better at Latin than I am as a literal teacher of this. Um, like it just sounded like Latin. It was so weird.
That is cool.
Yeah.
I love discovering things like that. So thank you for pointing me to that.
Yeah.
Homeric Greek has a lot more words that are recognizably Greek, or
Hmm.
the other way around. um, and it's really interesting. And as long as I sing it in Greek pronunciation rather than ancient Greek pronunciation, it's
Hmm.
recognizable. It's
Right. Yeah.
it,
Because when
it,
you put that ancient accent on things, then people kind of get a little weird, like pronouncing Latin with a classical accent as opposed to an ecclesiastical accent, which is what most people are used to hearing. But like when you start throwing, hard C's in there, people get so confused. And they're just like, what is this? What's going on?
yeah, for reals. Uh, when people ask, so, how do you decide to pronounce things? Sometimes Greek, sometimes ancient Greek. Why does your pronunciation change? And I said, because if
Hmm.
I'm in Greece, they want to feel like, it's their culture. They own the culture.
Yeah.
And I think it's just respectful. But I'll sing
Yeah.
some things in ancient Greek pronunciation and then in Greek
Hmm.
pronunciation just to balance it out because there will be people who want to hear what the reconstructed thing is and they go, their
Yeah.
faces sort of twisted and go, ah,
And they're like,
thank you. Go
I
back
was
to the
like,
Greek
that's,
pronunciation.
yeah, it's like, those are sounds. Those are
Those are
sounds.
sounds. Let's
Yes.
hear our beautiful language. Back to our beautiful language, please.
Yes.
Uh, you know, I always ask people what pronunciation would you prefer that I do, and
Hmm.
I trained myself to do either one at this point, just
Yeah.
as just sort of click in my brain. Um,
Yeah.
Whereas like you get, and it's so sad, right? In Egypt, ancient Egyptian, Middle Egyptian
Hmm.
didn't make its way to modern Egyptian. Um,
Right. Yeah.
so, I mean, I don't know either language very, I know more
Hmm.
Middle Egyptian than I do like modern
Yeah, and
Egyptian.
even then, like what we know and what we typically, learn in a class or from books as Middle Egyptian is a reconstructed language
It's
based on
reconstructed. Yeah.
yeah, it's a reconstructed language based on work that was done, like almost 200 years ago at this point. And, thankfully, a lot of linguistic work has happened since then. But that said, if you're still looking at, the Budge translations of, the Book of the Dead or literally anything, there's a lot of weird, too many these and thous, the way of thinking about it was like, oh, well, there's no vowels here. Just stick an E in the middle of it and call it good. And it's like that's not how any of this worked at all. So I do really enjoy seeing and hearing from current linguists and specifically young linguists that are like really, really, really getting into the sort of like the philology of it all and actively working to try to reconstruct what this language would have properly sounded like as opposed to all the nebets and netchers and whatever else, and it's like just stick an e in the middle instead of stick a bird on it, stick an e on it.
Yeah, and it's helpful to me, and they're kind so far. When I would do my ancient Egyptian songs, and I would
Yeah,
ask, I always farm it out because that's not my specialty. I'm like, am I
it's like
pronouncing it
ask the
kind of sort
experts.
of ish okay? And they're like,
Hmm.
yeah, good enough that it's
Yeah, like we
it's
literally don't
fine.
have anything else, so
It's the
yeah.
best we can come up with. It's like when I tried
Yeah.
Sumerian, I'm like, eh, about
No,
there
no.
maybe. Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
yet another reason why you need to go to Egypt at the Grand Egyptian Museum in the section that is sort of highlighting the 18th dynasty and then specifically the Amarna period within that. They have a whole like audio visual thing set up for the hymn to the Aten, and they have music that they have put it to, and it's this beautiful sort of like um you know curved screen situation, so you see the text and each verse gets a little highlight. You see English translation, the hieroglyphs, and I think it's also in Arabic too. But it's all set to, they put music to it because obviously this was a hymn and it was meant to be sung. And it's a really, really interesting, delightful way to present that specific thing. And they have a lot of installations like that in the museum, but that's one that I really love. And I love taking people to see it, specifically if they're interested in
That
the
sounds
Amarna
beautiful.
period.
Yeah.
It's the best. And my only complaint is I literally never have enough time to like sit there and like film the whole thing and watch the whole hymn go by because it's really long. And also usually around then it's just like I need food and coffee or I'm going to just like face plant in the 19th dynasty when we get down there.
I had done my version of Great Hymn to the Aten, but I only went as far as like one page because it's super
It's
super
so
long.
long.
Um,
It's so long.
when I was talking to Maria yesterday about Homer, and I have the same attitude about my question with the ancient sounds, which
Hmm.
is my first question, which is where I got into the ancient lyre before I got into other ancient instruments, was how did Homer sound like? But really, behind that is how did Homer sound like sung by a woman is was
Mm,
really my
yeah.
thing because uh, and well, I'm bringing this up because it's like okay, there's the Great Hymn to the Aten, and
Hmm.
that was sung by women because when you see on the temples, at least during the
Yeah.
kingdom times, there were
Yeah.
women performers, and
Hmm.
anytime you see them uh, with their hands raised up and they're praying, women have
Hmm.
the the sistrum,
Yeah. It
and
was
so
specifically priestesses to of Hathor.
yeah,
And because song and dance was an integral part of her worship and festivals for Hathor. Um, I mean, part of me honestly is wondering like, was this whole hymn literally performed by Akhenaten himself? Because I could see that happening because that's the kind of guy that he was.
that's really
Um,
cool if so.
yeah.
And did he just sing a cappella? Were
Or
there
did he
the
like he had a bunch of
yeah,
like sad, hot, poor musicians like having to accompany him while he did this entire hymn every single day because they did these crazy ceremonies and processions every single day. And I get the feeling that like if you were not participating in this procession, it was going to be a problem. Because again, it's like that's the kind of guy he was, that's the kind of situation it was. Like I would be willing to bet money that like this was performed by Akhenaten, like it was composed by Akhenaten, it would be performed like very Nero. It's giving Nero a little bit where like he would put on these performances and everyone had to be like, oh, yes,
oh
wonderful. Yes,
wow,
yes. Oh, the
absolutely.
beautiful performance, Your Majesty. Yes, thank you so much. When it's like the worst thing you've ever heard.
Thankfully, it sounds pretty to me. I mean,
Yeah,
this was
we can
actually,
interpret it better.
yeah, this it seems like it's good poetry.
Yeah.
I
Or if you
don't
had like a
know.
ghostwriter or something.
I don't know if written during his time frame was that considered good poetry, what they expected. These are things that are missing. Like what was
So many
considered
questions. So many
so many
questions.
what was considered good poetry, what meter was considered good,
Hmm.
in
Yeah.
ancient Egyptian. I don't know those things. Whereas like I know I can
Yeah.
speak more about the
Or what
ancient
or was good or bad
Greek.
even a thing when it's like, okay, we literally only have this one option. This is poetry. This is our poetry. This is what we do. And like, was there even a concept of good or bad, or were there even options?
That's a good point. Like, why the heck was everything in dactylic hexameter for
Right.
for Homer and Homeric hymns and
Right.
even Orphic hymns?
Yeah.
Those were dactylic hexameter. But then you get Sappho, who's like, no, man, no,
I'm doing it my way.
I'm doing it my way. This is the Sapphic meter. Here we
Yeah, we
go.
got my own meter.
I got my own meter. My island has its own meter. We're doing it this way, or maybe it's just one.
Hmm.
And there's several meters that she tries out, and it's they're
Yeah.
not considered sapphic, but because she did it, but like there are
Yeah.
different ones, and then you get to like um you by the time you get to the Athanasius's hymn to Apollo and Delphi, it's like no, it's now sounding kind of Turkish actually because there's
Yeah. It's like
it's 5/8 and very
all over the
slidey
place.
notes. And so it's
Yeah.
like, but was it always slidey notes? And we
Right.
just didn't realize it. But it is a different the poetry is a different meter. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's like there's all these, but the ones that we just happen to have that
Hmm.
that was epic, the epic one is this. Okay.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
just their
Yeah. Yeah.
tradition
Yeah.
to do it that way. But the musicians themselves like to be all funky with different
Right. Like, were
rhythms.
they doing like ancient jazz, basically? Like, was that a performance option? Were they kind of going free form with it when it actually came time to perform, or was everyone like, no, you do it this way, stick to the notes?
Yeah,
Um, all of those sort of like very mundane everyday things that we like don't have documentation for because people either weren't writing at the time or that's not the kind of thing people were writing down or it was just so common and everyday. There was like, why would we write this down? Everybody knows this.
Yeah. I mean, there were some comments like, "Oh, Sappho did something different here." I'd have to look at particularly what was considered
Yeah,
different and new. And in fifth century, people were trying out different things, and people were getting annoyed. Like when someone, Timotheus, added more strings, they were like, "What the heck is he doing? There's supposed to be seven, eight, nine strings. Why are 13? What the heck's going on?"
what
But
is this
musicians are
madness?
were always have always been crazy and trying out
Yeah,
new things because they heard it from someplace, or they saw it somewhere, or they just maybe just
yeah.
suddenly decided, no, I'm going to do
I'm
this
adding
like
two more
this.
strings to this, and we're going to see what happens.
Yeah, and poets are the same way, throughout the ages.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
believe it or not, Annalise, we have been chit-chatting for like an hour and
Oh my God.
something.
Yeah.
But it's
Okay. Yeah.
but that's
Yeah.
how it is with you. So it's always fun, and that's why, once I stop the record, we're gonna have to figure out boba time or museum
Right. Like
time,
the post chat, the wrap up
post
chat
chat, post chat.
afterwards.
But let's wrap this up with some thoughts. What do you want to tell
Yes.
people out there? Like, first of all, I want to go on your next tour. It's not going to happen, but I have to go with you on your
Or the
tour
one after
in
that. The one after
2027,
that.
2028.
Yes.
What's your passion right now? What are you like thinking? Where should people go? Why should they do this?
I mean, I've got the trips that are on my calendar that people can join, the group trips. I've got Morocco coming up in November. If someone wants to jump on that, they can. I've got India in January, which I'm super excited about because that's going to be exploring a whole new part of the world for me. Because there's history and cool stuff everywhere. So like, great, this is going to be my first step over into you know, more Asia, which is endlessly exciting. And then I've got Egypt in March of next year. I'm going to do the same trip that I did this year again for everybody who wasn't able to make it on the first one. And we're literally doing like Egypt top to bottom and seeing all the places that we don't normally get a chance to see on the like 1 week bucket list highlights trip. So we're going to Alexandria, then we're going down to Aswan, and then we spend couple of days in Luxor, and we're going to a bunch of different sites and temples that would normally be like just a little bit too far to drive. Um, and it's fantastic. We have so much fun. And yeah, it's great. And then next fall in September, I'm doing an Italy trip, and it's literally just Rome and Naples and Roman Naples because that's what I want to see. Like I am coming for my Romans with a day trip for Etruscans, and then we're back into the Romans. Whatever Renaissance, whatever, it's fine. It is what it is. It's fine. But it is Romans and Romans only with a little bit of Etruscans because I love them dearly and they're right there. And that's it. And a couple of days in Rome, a couple of days down in Naples. We've got half a day at Herculaneum and then a whole day at Pompeii because at that point you can just leave me there. I'll take a sleeping bag. You can just leave me there. It's fine. And then, pizza, wine, Italy, good times. And then as for, beyond the whole world is out there. There are so many places to go, and I love one, being able to go there, and two, taking people with me so we can all see these cool things together and talk about them and nerd out about them in person with each other. Yeah, it's great. So doing these trips is incredibly fulfilling, and I'm so happy that I get to do this.
It's
And
so
then other than that,
cool.
I'm online.
Yeah, and it's so cool that you're an archaeologist. Like, we can ask you
Yeah.
questions, and
Yeah, literally,
uh,
that's the whole point. Like, I am
yeah,
the designated
yeah.
archaeologist buddy at these sites, and I am literally here to answer all of your questions and nerd out with you about whatever the thing is. And yeah,
Cool. Do you have any last minute questions for me that I haven't answered yet?
um, I don't think so. I mean, obviously, there's like an endless amount of stuff to talk about the Odyssey and the Iliad, especially like this specific week, and it's like we
There
can talk for
is.
hours,
Yes, yes.
hours about this.
But for now,
But
I have answered
for
the
now,
the questions. Okay.
yes.
What do you think you're going to be listening to on my album?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I'm
Let
going
me.
to do what I usually do for new things. Like I'm just going to hit play and let it ride.
Oh, nice. Okay, I think it rides for an hour. I think so.
Perfect.
Because it
Yeah.
goes. I didn't do it in book order. I thought about doing it in book order,
Hmm.
but I didn't quite because I wanted just a variety as far as musical instruments and the
Hmm.
way that I sang it.
Hmm.
So sometimes it's, it jumped, but I did start with the beginning of the
Yay.
Iliad. So 1.1.
Which makes sense. Which makes
I'm like,
sense.
okay, I'm just
Begin
gonna
at the
have to start
beginning.
with this. And
Yeah,
then I
begin at the
end
beginning.
with Odyssey 24.
Ooh, very nice.
So I
Yeah,
did do that.
yeah, I'm just excited to hear it because like you do such a good job singing these works in the language and with the appropriate instruments. And it's like, that's just so cool. And I just like hearing that.
Thank you. I'm dying to know what you think of it, once it's as as all music, as all albums, I always just tell people you don't have to like every single song. Just tell me which song like moved you, which song
Yeah,
you liked, and why, and that makes me happy because like one out of
yeah.
12 that made you happy will make me happy. I'll be
Yeah, like
yes,
that one that you really connect with. It's like,
yeah,
great,
yeah,
mission accomplished.
yeah. Well, thank
Yeah,
you
and
so
it's
much.
and the album is out. It's on streaming
Every music
platforms. It's
platform,
everywhere.
every music
Great.
platform out there. The one question that was being asked is because my album in 2019 had had a CD, right?
Hmm.
And that's the question people are asking, like, oh, how come you're not promoting the CD? It's because in 2019, CD Baby was doing everything for me, including CDs
Yeah, printing
and
CDs was much easier back
printing
then.
in 2019, and they put it
Yeah,
straight to Amazon. It was great. But now
yeah,
it's like, oh, it's not that easy. And the
yeah.
for an independent
Right.
musician, I have to make a
Hmm.
choice as to who's going to carry it, how am I going to
Yep.
do the fulfillment and all that sort of thing. So that's
Hmm.
like on
Yeah.
hold, and that will have to be that just like before it was pre-ordered, but like pre-ordered,
Yeah.
and I have to make some decisions. It's going to take longer. The pre-order on that will have to take like a few months, um,
Yeah.
till I can be sure it's a trusted,
Yeah.
verifiable
And also like
information.
financially viable too, because it's
Yeah,
like, yeah,
yeah.
like
Oh, and
it's
people are
it's
asking
not
about
cheap.
CD or vinyl now, like, oh, are really vinyl? And the reason is because people actually apparently are not necessarily listening to it. They want to just collect it like it's a
To have the
book,
thing, the
to have
physical
the thing.
media.
Right. So it's like, okay, so you're not actually going to play it on a CD player. You don't actually have a way to play it on if it's vinyl, but it's just kind of cool
Hmm.
looking. So therefore it's like,
Yeah.
okay, with that in
A
mind,
collectible.
it's a collectible. Just like when I go touring around, they always ask for CD, and I still had, I kept printing new CDs of my
Hmm.
Athanatos with me, so that they could have it. Like,
Hmm.
okay, here it is, and it's on all musical platforms, but they still wanted the thing. So
Yeah.
I will still have a thing. I would just be
Hmm.
asking people what's their preference, and I'm
Yeah.
okay with it that it will be out in a few months rather than
Hmm.
now. But right now,
Yeah.
it's on every music platform. So, and
Yay.
I dutifully check my social media and answer like a few times a day. Just
Hmm.
whenever I have time, whatever I'm doing, I'm like, oh yes, and I'll answer people, and so I'm available. Yeah. So
Yay.
yay! Thank you so much,
Yay.
Annelise.
Yeah. Thank
Annelise.
you.
Sorry, I keep doing the California Annelise instead of Annelise.
Right. And I respond to both because like it's been a thing.
I am so looking forward to hanging out with you, and this will be out by tomorrow. So share widely once
Awesome.
it's out there.
Yay.
So thanks again, and so bye for now.
Bye.